Hi and good afternoon. Welcome to video number 38 for National Bookstore's hashtag Read Out Loud Challenge. For every 75 videos uploaded of people reading aloud an excerpt from a book, National Bookstore has pledged to set up one library. And we're not quite done with that yet. For every 75,000 videos uploaded of the same type, National Bookstore has pledged to give library makeovers to 1,000 public schools. So, this is great. It's going to foster a love for learning, a love for reading, and just, access to wonderful books all around. So, for this week, I am very, very pleased to introduce to you one of the most finely crafted works I've ever read. It's been a while since I've enjoyed a book of this genre, and I am very, very proud to be reading for you today Smaller and Smaller Circles by F.H. Batacan. Okay. The excellent thing about this is it's okay, I can't with this book. This book is one of the best crime fiction novels ever written. Props to Miss Batacan out there. And essentially, it focuses on two Jesuit priests, a Father Gus Saenz and his protege, Father Jerome Lucero, as they track down a series of serial killings on children in Payatas. And aside from them looking into this forensic style and with a fair dash of excellent behavioral science, backed up with heart, backed up with conviction and with principle, we also get to see how they have to maneuver the world the obstruction of justice, both from the clerical side and from the official side and from the secular side. And it's just, one excellent read. And no doubt that's a very good reason why it's won the Carlos Palanca Awards, it's won the Philippine National Book Award, and the Madrigal Gonzalez Best First Book Award. It's received lauds from CNN and the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel and the Guardian. And it's a really exciting time to be alive right now, because this wonderful thing right here is about to grace Philippine cinema, courtesy of TBA Productions. Good job, guys. So, I will be reading for you a portion of their story. Essentially, Father Gus Saenz, Father Gus Saenz has been invited to come watch a piece in CCP, and it's really not just for art's sake. This essentially is a glimpse into one of the challenges that they have to face in their continuing struggle to solve cases and keep afloat. So, this is Smaller and Smaller Circles by F.H. Batacan. Hope you enjoy. Susan is rushing back to the department to get some papers photocopied when she bumps into Saenz. He's emerged from his office in search of coffee. "What are you doing?" she demands, eyes wide in alarm. "Why are you still here?" Saenz looks down on her, equally alarmed by her expression. Why? Where am I supposed to be?" She lets out a tiny squeal of frustration and hustles him back through the door of his office, a woman barely 5 feet tall shooing a 6-foot-something chicken back into its coop. Once inside, she begins to shuffle through the chaos on top of his desk. "The magic flute!" The magic what? She finally finds what she's looking for and fishes out an envelope from beneath a pile of correspondence. She spends another few seconds locating a letter opener, leaving Saenz momentarily concerned that she plans to bury it in his chest. Instead, she uses it to rip the envelope open. "You're supposed to be at the CCP tonight! The magic flute!" She waves the envelope at him. "See? You've got tickets!" "I do?" "Hi, Naku! Look, she says, gesturing at a suit bag hanging from a hook on the whiteboard behind him. Remember, I made you bring that extra shirt 2 weeks ago because I knew you'd forget to bring one today. Was that supposed to be tonight? She rolls her eyes. No, I'm just trying to annoy you for no good reason. Yes, it's tonight, and don't pretend you don't know. But I don't even like opera, he protests weakly. By this time, he's already remembered that he was supposed to go, and already figured that he can't possibly bamboozle Susan. She sticks her hand into the mess on his desk once more and yanks out from within it a CD of Strauss's Der Rosenkavalier. Yes, you do, she says, thrusting it under his nose as proof. I don't like Mozart, he moans, even more weakly this time. She wags a finger at him as if she might do with a spoiled child. Mrs. Iwasaki from Japan Connect sent you those tickets. And she expects you to be there. I don't need to tell you how much we need the sponsorship right now. Which reminds me, where's Father Lucero? When all she gets from Saenz is a blank look, she throws her hands up in the air and then picks up the phone on his desk. Aye, between the two of you, I'm going to have a heart attack, she grouses. Father Lucero, where are you? Do you know you're supposed to be on your way to the CCP with Father Gus? A pause. What do you mean when? Right now! It's the gala premiere of the Magic Flute. Saenz scowls. I've no clothes for a gala of any sort, he mumbles, but loudly enough for her to hear. And neither does he. She scowls right back. A clean, well-pressed shirt will do, she tells him firmly. And as for you, Father Lucero, she says into the phone, you're to bring the car around in 10 minutes, or else. She puts the receiver down and circles around the desk to shoo Saenz out of his chair. You have no time to just sit around, Father. You've got to change your shirt. She yanks the suit back off the hook and shoves it into his hands. Now, go! When he scurries off to the men's room to change, Susan collapses into a chair, exhausted. I swear, it's like supervising toddlers, she complains to God in his heaven. Two hours later, Saenz and Jerome are standing behind the banister of one of the sweeping staircases at the main lobby of the Cultural Center of the Philippines. The invitation says 6:30 p.m., but it's past 7, and there's no sign that the performance is about to start. Instead, they're treated to a garish display of Manila's wealthy and powerful. Aging socialites and their offspring, politicians, members of the country's business elite and movie stars, all powdered and perfumed, sequined and beaded and embroidered to within an inch of their lives. I should have brought a pair of sunglasses, Jerome says. You don't own a pair of sunglasses. Keep dragging me into these things and I'll have to invest in one. Heads up. Mrs. Iwasaki spotted you. Saenz turns to be greeted by a middle-aged woman in a tailored gray suit. Mrs. Atsuko Iwasaki is a sparrow in the sea of preening peacocks and flamingos around them. Her fine, straight, graying hair is tied back in a neat chignon, and she is wearing the bare minimum of makeup. She bows before Saenz, who bows even lower before her. Mrs. Iwasaki, good evening. Father Saenz, she says, her voice as gentle and restrained as her demeanor. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm very happy to be here. How have you been? Very well, thank you. We have been busy. She looks askance at all the glamorous mayhem around them. Preparing for this. I'm sure you've had your hands full. Mrs. Iwasaki smiles at him, but the smile is tinged with anxiety. Father, I am happy to tell you that the third tranche of funding for your laboratory will be released very soon. Next week, in fact. Thank you. But Science detects hesitation in the way she said it. But I'm sorry to report that we have had to evaluate our commitments to various organizations this year. The outside corner of her right eyelid begins to twitch. A tiny, almost invisible flutter of muscle beneath her thin skin. And the board has decided to reallocate part of your funding to other uses. Science takes a deep breath. Lets it out slowly. I see. How large a part then? This and subsequent tranches will be reduced by 40%. Behind Mrs. Iwasaki, Jerome opens his mouth and starts to say, incredulously, 40%. But Science silences him with a sharp look. I see. That's quite a substantial amount. Did they say why? I'm afraid I am not informed of all the reasons behind such reallocation at my level, other than that they believe there are more pressing needs. Her language is formal, but her regret and her embarrassment are real, almost palpable. Science shakes his head and smiles gently at her. I understand, Mrs. Iwasaki. Is there any way we can appeal the decision? But her silence and apologetic smile are answer enough. Ah, well, these things happen. We'll just have to manage without that 40%. I am truly sorry, Father Science. We will communicate this formally next week when we issue the check for the third tranche. I just thought... Well, I felt that Science realizes that she is deeply saddened by the situation, and he reaches out to pat her arm. I understand, Mrs. Iwasaki. Really. Thank you for letting me know, and I look forward to speaking with you next week. But now let's enjoy the rest of the evening, shall we? And he flashes her one of those signature Science smiles. Warm, genuine, devastating. He bows again, and she reciprocates. Ah, she says, catching a glimpse of someone in the crowd behind them. Mrs. Urrutia, she is on our honorary board members. If you will excuse me, I must assist her. Science and Jerome crane their necks in the direction she indicates. They see the prominent society matron Veronica Urrutia, dressed in a gown of heavily embroidered magenta silk shantung with elaborate swirls of seed pearls and crystal beads on the neckline, cuffs, and hem. The high neck and long cuffs hide a scrawny neck and wrists. Her hair, dyed a glossy copper, is twisted into a vertiginous bun at the top of her head. Once famously dubbed the Philippines' Doris Duke by a fawning lifestyle columnist, the 72-year-old woman is the heiress to a vast retail empire and the mother of an incumbent senator. She fancies herself a philanthropist and gets frequent mention in society columns for one high-profile charity project or another. To the two priests' dismay, Mrs. Urrutia is slowly walking the red carpet arm in arm with Cardinal Rafael Meneses. Science turns away quickly, but Mrs. Iwasaki has called out Mrs. Urrutia's name. Before the two priests can make their escape, they find themselves in a huddle with the socialite and the cardinal. Thank you for coming, Mrs. Urrutia. Mrs. Iwasaki also bows to the cardinal. Cardinal Meneses, so good of you to come too. I'm so glad Mrs. Urrutia invited me, he says, beaming, first at Mrs. Urrutia, then at Mrs. Iwasaki. His expression changes only ever so slightly when he turns to Science. Father Science, I didn't know you had an ear for opera. It depends on the opera. Enjoy your evening, Your Eminence. Saenz says, steps aside to allow them to pass. Oh, is that the famous Father Augusto Saenz? Mrs. Urrutia thrills. Come, let's have a look at you. Saenz bristles at her patronizing tone but keeps his tongue in check. Mrs. Urrutia, he says, bowing slightly to her. Pleased to meet you. A bony finger tipped with a coral-painted nail jabs at him. So you're the one who's been giving Monsignor Ramirez so much trouble. Saenz's eyes widen, and even Cardinal Meneses appears taken aback. Excuse me? Saenz asks. Come, Mrs. Urrutia. I believe seating has started. The Cardinal says, trying to usher her toward the middle of the lobby, away from the small group. But she balks at being steered away. I'm the chairman of the board of Canlungan ni Cristo. I'm aware of that, ma'am. Saenz says. I keep hearing of the problems you've been causing us, especially Monsignor Ramirez. Saenz straightens up to his full height and looks down at Mrs. Urrutia dispassionately. Is that so? I wonder then if you've also heard of the problems Father Ramirez has been causing the very children your charity purports to help. The diamonds dangling from Mrs. Urrutia's ears tremble as she shakes her head vigorously. No, no, no. All lies, all conjecture. You've not been able to prove a single thing. Now, if you could even do a fraction of the good that Monsignor Ramirez has been doing all these years, you might... Mrs. Iwasaki emits a small peep of distress and confusion at this rapid and unexpected spiral into unpleasantness. At this, the Cardinal tries once more to appease Mrs. Urrutia and guide her back towards the rest of the crowd, which has already begun to stream into the theater's entrances. Mrs. Urrutia, it's time that we... Let me tell you this, Father Saenz, she says, refusing to be placated. A man of God doesn't try to drag his brothers down when they're doing so much to help others. Out of the corner of his eye, Saenz sees Jerome, so angry that the color of his face is moving rapidly from red to purple. When he opens his mouth to speak, undoubtedly to say something scathing to Mrs. Urrutia, Saenz puts a hand on his arm to restrain him, and then looks at Mrs. Urrutia. Mrs. Urrutia, a man of God does not help himself while pretending to help others. Good evening. He pivots away from the woman and motions for Jerome to follow him. But Mrs. Urrutia isn't finished yet. What goes around comes around, Father. And sometimes it comes around in ways you can't foresee. For example, in the flow of funds that you need to run that amateur laboratory of yours. A gasp of dismay from Mrs. Iwasaki, and Jerome sees tears spring to her eyes. Saenz stands very still. The Cardinal finally manages to escort Mrs. Urrutia away, and the priest hears Mrs. Iwasaki whisper remorsefully, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Father. Before she leaves to attend to other people. Gus, Jerome asks, his forehead creased with concern. Gus, are you all right? Will be soon enough. It's Director Lastimosa in a wheelchair, one of his sons standing behind him. The director has unhooked the loop of his medical face mask from one ear and is doing the same to the other. How? What are you doing here, sir? Saenz asks in astonishment. Shouldn't you be at home, resting? And miss this low-key display of good taste, social responsibility, and fiscal prudence? The director's eyes twinkle as he hands the mask over to his son and clasps his hands together over a fine gray barong. I wouldn't even think of it. Personally, I don't have the stomach for Mozart tonight. Saenz says. He turns to Jerome. If you want to stay for the performance, go ahead. I think I'll catch a ride back. Gus, I'm good. I'll see you in the morning. Saenz bows to the director and begins to take his leave. Director Lastimosa. The director reaches out to grasp his hand firmly. Father Saenz, you surprise me. Saenz frowns. I'm not sure I understand. Surely you're no stranger to these high society matrons, with their pet priests and their pet cardinals. They underwrite their projects, they fund the charities, they bask in the reflected glory when the priests are elevated to the higher echelons of the church. You mean you heard all that? Jonathan and I were right behind you. And Mrs. Urrutia is not exactly a quiet woman. The director grasps Saenz's hand and shakes it vigorously, as though by doing so, he will be able to jolt him out of his black mood. Come now, Father Saenz. The old bat may have won this round, but people like you and me, we win simply by surviving yet another day. He motions to his son, indicating that he wishes to be pushed forward towards the theater entrance. Ah, come gentlemen. The Queen of the Night awaits. And that was an excerpt from the book Smaller and Smaller Circles by F.H. Batacan. Thank you so much for joining me for video number 38 of National Bookstore's #Read Out Loud Challenge. So please do join us. It's for a very good cause. And I do sincerely look forward to watching your own uploads. Thanks so much. Let's keep this ball of goodness rolling. And have a great day. Take care.